move on with this news that came out of nowhere. And it literally was one day they have a meet, from what I can gather, they have a meeting and they tell the students and the staff that you have, first I heard it was until August. And then it's the end of June, and now it's tomorrow. You on some try and be morally right or whatever. And I'm not saying that morally right stuff that King was talking about. Right. That's different. I'm not talking about that, because ain't no way you putting women and the kids in front of water hoses and police dogs, and they don't give a damn. Excuse me. I'm a teacher, and if I'm not teaching your children, people have a right to come and say, "Hey, look, man, you're not doing what I need you to do for my child." But you have to be involved too, right? So you can't tell me as a parent that you're involved, that you're not doing my child right. And I need y'all to correlate this to what's going on around here as well. You can't tell me I'm not doing your child right if you're not involved in the child's life on all levels. The issue that it is now is blatant in everybody's face. Yeah. It's blatant in everybody's face. So we're not sitting there talking about what can we do for residents. We don't care nothing about the residents.
Never about the residents.
It's never about the residents. And the issue that people are having that I see, and they still won't let me come down to the council meeting. When I'm out of school, I'm just gonna go. We out of school in a couple weeks. I'm just gonna come to one. I don't care. Oh, we still rooting for you and we praying for you, man. We appreciate you. Well, I don't know how deeply we want to jump into the this past set of celebrations. I mean, I don't have an issue with people. Excuse me, old folks say when your nose that somebody want to see you. I hope they want to see me righteously. Um, if you're going to continue to spend your money in something that is not for you, at least know that you spending your money for something that is not for you. Okay, from 1776, at the end of the so-called independence from this nation, from this, as a matter of fact, it wasn't even colony, to the separation of its mother, Native Americans were being slaughtered by the millions, and Africans in America were being held in bondage by the millions. I know other people may have other ideologies. That's fine. You can have that. We're going by what the record shows here. In 1852, July 5th, 1852 would have been yesterday instead of today. Frederick Douglass gives a speech to Congress in Corinthian Hall in New York in 1852. And he talks about how can you celebrate your independence when you have these people that you put on plantations and you're subjecting them to horrors, and you have other groups of people that you're just wiping out wholeheartedly, but yet you want us to celebrate with you. Now, we know, and this is going to sound like a jump around show, and it's okay that it does, because we're going to talk about a bunch of different things that happen too. So when you have a group of people that are celebrating their independence, where we fought against our parents, our mother, who gave us the birth of our nation, and then we're still celebrating something we don't have. We just want to have a party. but we're not cognizant and aware that we're spending our money in the economy that doesn't benefit us. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Okay. We're spending our money in an economy that doesn't benefit us. And I just was reading something that came up across, somebody shared this with me, sent it to me, where even the Juneteenth holiday that was made a federal holiday happened after George Floyd got killed. And then there was the creation of Black Lives Matter, which too has been co-opted. I don't care what anybody says. It's run its course. It's not like, and most organizations run their course if they're not built to be institutionalized. Okay. So like I said, it sounds like I'm jumping around, and it kind of sort of is, but I need y'all to follow. So you don't hear much about Black Lives Matter anymore. Um, you don't hear much about the NAACP and its strength that it used to have. You don't hear much about sleeping car porters because it kind of doesn't matter anymore. You don't hear much about what's the other big one, the old one that was started by not Asa Philip Randolph. You start sleeping car porters.
With SNCC.
Well, those SNCC Corps, those are gone.
What SCLUs?
SCLC is
SCLs,
gone.
okay.
No, yeah, that's gone because that's the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, and that
Right.
was just that was a king thing, but it was started by Miss Ella Baker, which y'all really have to go, especially the young women and the older women who are who are not, you're not aspiring. You are the backbone of every movement because you run. You're. I can't stress about how powerful you really are. You've just been broken down in the system and told you're not powerful. But there has been no movement that doesn't work without a woman, without women who put the work in because of your ability to organize. And Miss Ella Baker is one of them. So y'all really need to go read her story and see what she's about, right? So for every woman, and that's Sister Taliba, Sister Winters, all the women out here that may not know, go read her story and try and get an understanding. Her, Mary McLeod Bethune, Ida B. Wells, these women who were super important in.
Pull the mic up to you.
Oh, okay. Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me slide over here so I can get closer to it. Who were very important and are powerful in creating these organizations that run the way that they do because of women. That's not saying let's get the power balance out of order, right? Because you also have to remember that the system was designed to destroy you too, first and foremost. So this argument that we constantly are having in our relationships is, well, her and I'm a strong black woman and I'm the strong this and man. That's a bunch of bullshit. We need each other. Stop. So that's dumb. So good morning for y'all. That's that spicy Sunday morning. So I'm gonna try and be a little bit no, I'm not. Because that's not gonna happen. Ain't no need me telling that lie because it ain't gonna happen. Right? So we did those that needs to stop. The greatest fear that this organization has called a country is that the people who are suffering the most become one group of people. But the Panthers, when they were active in the 60s, and I know this is jumping around, I need y'all to follow. The Panthers, where people were afraid because Dr. UAP Newton and Brother Bobby Seale and the rest of the Panthers were pulling together poor whites, poor Latinos, and poor black because the bottom line, you was poor. And just as well in Chicago and other places that the Panthers had the free breakfast program, they weren't feeding just poor black children, they were feeding poor white and poor Hispanic people too. The fear is that if we come together and understand that, number one, we can deal with our race issue later on, because they're always going to be that, because they put that in place to make that the forefront of our thinking. Bottom line, we poor. And sometimes we poor. But at the end of the day, it's our women. Once again, y'all not studying. Everything is designed to, when you go get housing through the government, they tell you your husband or your boyfriend can't be there. If you go get food stamps, they want to know if somebody's on who else is on the docket getting this food. He got to be in the shadows or be eliminated at all at any cost. It's still where if you go get a state aid, that you better not have no man in the house, because your children belong to the man, not your man, but to the man that you're getting your funds from. Sister Akil, you're absolutely correct. We have to be united. And the whole point of the exercise is to make sure that we're not. We get to the point where you can't tell me what to do and I can't tell you what to do. And as long as we continue to have that division between us, then of course nothing happens and our children suffer. If we're walking around here having a march for children under the age of 21 who get guns, we're not supposed to, according to their law. Number one, how come you don't know what the hell you got coming in your house? And I understand sometimes that young people figure I got to go out and I got to find a way to help my family and make it to really? But is that the way? But look at what they've also feeding us and putting in our head. Listen to the music. Because they're not getting anything to offset that music. What are the conversations going on in your house that offset the fact that they listen to? I listen to it too, because I got a son and that's what they listen to. I get it. But he also knows what conversation that he and Uncle Mick and myself, and he's privy to this, myself and other brothers and sisters that I talk to. He's also privy to these conversations. Where other conversations are we privying our children to? Let's be honest, nothing. What other music are they listening to? What other speeches are they? Hey, man, come here, listen to this. And they come out, and I'm saying, for me, my children constantly heard these types of conversations. So if you do listen to their trap music or whatever, that's cool. But I got this other thing to balance it out. And part of the conspiracy, I know this ain't Tuesday, is if you eliminate those conversations in the household and flood the look and flood the head in the earwaves, and that's what I'm saying, of the young people with this other message, which is do drugs and shoot them up, and women are B's and H's and this and that and that, and even women. Stop calling yourself that. At what point in time are you a dog? Because you contribute to it too by saying that. I'm a bad B. Huh? But you don't understand that inside of that, you really a goddess. That's a whole nother topic. It's a whole nother story. Y'all not ready for that conversation. Y'all not ready. That's a whole different. That's a whole nother different conversation.
Mm-mm. That's rough.
Hey, But you can't see that because nobody showed you that.
Got a point there.
But you can see yourself being a bad bee, though. Huh?
I mean, we do got to change the language,
Right.
and that start with
Right.
the. We
Because
got.
even calling young cats YNs for what? Stop
I mean,
calling them that.
yeah, we do. We got to change the language. I think that's really what the breakdown. It's really in the language breakdown, because we go more with street talk. Because you know how it would be. Oh, you think you proper? You think you better? Remember, people got knocked for that, for having etiquette.
Yeah, and see now when we talk about, like y'all talked on the morning bump the other day about how you got a curfew and how you got excuse me, how you got this, that, and the other, and how certain lines people can't go. Well, teach your children how to act when they out.
Yeah, you have to do that, but even with that curfew, that got a lot of racism involved in that.
Where do you think the curfew comes from?
Right? Yeah,
The curfew come from the 1850s when they told certain you can't be out at a certain time at a certain time anyway, and if you didn't have papers and we caught you, threw you back into slavery.
Yeah. I'm not. That's what I was telling some people when you get pulled over, and I wasn't trying to be, what they say. Well, I was trying to be being funny or being arrogant, because like you got people now. Because I was watching something, it was about ICE, how ICE doing their raids, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they were showing what they had did a mistaken identity,
Mm-hmm.
and the person was shook up. You know what I'm saying? And they was like, we ought to have, compassion. And my thing is this: what you think be happening to us in the neighborhood when we be getting, you can be getting pulled over? I never heard, drive pulled over while driving while black. Go look at when you go read the Philando Castile with him. He was racially profiled.
Right.
We've been going through this. It's not that I'm knocking with no other race going through, but this what y'all think we've been going through. Do you want to go back and pull up pictures where you being sick, dog sick on us, water holes, beaten? You know what I'm saying? You lost 3 people just for the South for voting rights. You forgot the what was it? The 2 Jewish guys and the black guy. Just for getting people to get organized to vote. Right. You forgot when they had, what was that, the National Guard they called in for them black, what was the black girl's name, for they can go to school. Go to school. Right. Like, this is the stuff that actually went down. And I'll be thinking, people be thinking like, oh, that's just 200 years ago. No.
That was 1960.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. What about when the black church got blew up?
1963.
That's what I'm saying. Like, we've been getting, the black community been getting terrorized,
right?
And I think a lot of people be, they miss, they don't understand that. Like, do you know that it's a thing called sundown towns?
Yeah, well, Flint is kind of sort of used to be one, but but go to Perry or Owasso.
Yeah,
and that ain't but 25, 30 minutes from here.
Yeah, I remember as a time you went out on Grand Blanc, you can catch problems,
right?
So it's like, when that's my thing, even with this back to the bricks going on, look who they, I mean, don't get me wrong, supposed to be catered, but look where they be putting the restrictions on this. And I'm with you, Brother Elliott, that we do got to know how to behave better, but they kids be cutting up too.
But that's them. Let them cut up.
Yeah, no, but I'm just saying,
know what I'm saying?
But highlight that too. Don't always just highlight us. That's what I'm with us at.
Now, let me go back to coining this phrase, right?
Yeah.
When did you hear about black on black crime? That was in the 70s, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the worst set of criminals is the white folks. They commit all of the, who going into schools, shooting up schools, who bringing drugs in, who doing all of that. But you don't hear about that. This is propaganda.
Yeah, no facts.
And we have to understand the propaganda. And no, they're not going to say that, because if this is an expendable group, they're not going to say, they're going to continue to propagandize and profile people that they don't have use for, which is now all of a sudden you got these raids. And again, I agree with you. It's wrong, but what's option B?
Yeah.
Right? What's option B? And like Sister Kill said, like, nobody cared about us and one. Now all of a sudden, every other group want us to come to their aid, right?
Mm-hmm.
And no group has ever come to our aid. If they did, they came. And I'm not saying like the two Jewish young men that got killed in bombing of the bus when they went down to the Mississippi for voting rights acts. You know, and there are others. I'm not saying that they're not.
Just look at Megan Edgar.
Yeah, off of getting people the right to vote.
Right.
1963, he's murdered by Brian D. LeBeckwith because he just, hey, we deserve to have the opportunity to vote like everybody else. We suffered and played this game in this country. All of these fought in every single war showed you that we're just as patriotic and we belong as everybody else. And we want to belong. But so let us have our full rights as citizens.
Right.
But you don't want to do that.
Right.
So at what point in time did we take it in our hands and say, look, we have to do this? Right? Mm-hmm. Juneteenth becomes a holiday after they murdered George Floyd, and there's a national uproar with black people in this country. No, but, hey, we're going to give you something to cheer y'all out.
Yeah.
And that happened right after George Floyd get murdered. There's a national uproar. Then we're going to give you a national holiday.
You got a point.
We're going to give you a holiday after that.
See, but that's what I'm saying. But see, you got to have them conversations. I just feel like somewhere, well, we know what we went off track, but how do we get back on track?
We have to start getting back on track by we got to take care of us.
Yeah,
we can't worry about somebody else.
No, facts, accountability.
Right.
And I agree with you that we got to, because listen, it was a time, like I'm looking with Jeff Johnson. What up, good brother from the ATL? He said, I remember coming up back in the day when those street lights came on.
Right.
We went, and it's a fact. I mean, but it's just so much stuff that you had to put up with. That's what I'm saying. But it's like, I think an illusion been put over us because we can go to the same stores, we can go here, we can take these trips. You know what I'm saying? But people look at the condition our areas are.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Look at the conditions. I know I'm gonna get in trouble for what I'm finna say, but I don't care. I gotta go back to our athletes too. I feel like they should be doing more. If you can go spend 40 and 50,000 and make it rain, and you gotta go buy Bentleys, this and that, won't they start getting together? But if you don't know better, you know what I'm saying, how you do better?
Most of the time with the athletes that come from my communities, they've already been conditioned that you belong to somebody else, right?
Mm-hmm.
By who you have around you and the fact that you're going to be working with owners and then all that other stuff. There's that. And when you're on college campuses, the conditioning begins there. Right? When you're on college campuses, the conditioning begins with who are the people that come and hang around the athletes, right? Who are the people that help the athletes study when they have study hall? Who are the people that, and most of the time you come, oh man, come over and hang out with us. Leon Bias, who would have been greater than Michael Jordan. Yes, I'm saying go check him out because it was rough going to Maryland.
For sure.
Signed to the Boston Celtics, who in 1987 just won a championship. He ends up dying the day after the draft because of drugs.
No, they won it in 86.
Was it 86? He was going to be on the team in 87.
Yeah, 87, yeah, because the Lakers won it 87, 88.
Guess who gave him the drugs? It wasn't some black dude that brought it in. Why would you? And then why would you, as an athlete who was like 1% body fat, took care of your body, why would you take something like that? Not knowing oh man, this is gonna make you feel better. No, I'm straight. I don't feel bad. I'm good.
But how did drugs get around? Look at Dexter Manley. Even, look at all our stars. How do they get, remember Mercury Morris, that was the running back for the 72 Dolphins? He was even, if you go look at it, when you listen, Go back and read what's the old boy name? Oh my God, basketball player. Matt, they used to call him play for the Houston Rockets. He was
Mad Max.
yeah, remember he went and fired on the person in the stadium.
Yeah.
And like how they played with him, he was on drugs, on powder.
Right. But see, then at what point in time do you have people around these athletes or being truthful with them? You don't. Because everybody becomes this is a yes person.
Mm-hmm.
Could you just imagine somebody like me and you being around Mike Tyson where he'd be?
Oh yeah, man, they'd be calling us saints.
Right. Because at the one, hey man, you're not gonna do that.
Oh, radical.
Yeah.
Oh hell yeah.
You're not doing that, bro. I don't care nothing about none of that. I'm telling you, if you want me to be around, this is how you gonna do it.
Yeah, because
I don't want your money. We trying to protect you.
Man, I'd have been trying to create. We looking at generational wealth.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, what you need to spend $20 million on cars for,
right?
Man, they depreciate.
No, we ain't doing that. As soon as you get off, no, we're not doing that. That's dumb. It's a stupid move. Yes. Get you one thing, and let's keep it.
Apartment complex over here.
Right.
Why not build up? Why not build up the community? Go buy back your community.
Right.
You can fix the houses up. You become the landlord.
Right. And you get paid forever.
Facts.
But if you don't put that in their head, and the narrative is that you come from this poor, beat down background, which was done by design.
Facts.
And you struggle through all of this and everything else and all this other stuff. And you struggled and struggled and struggled and everything. And so therefore, you deserve it.
Yeah.
This is the narrative that they write. Mike Tyson was born this and he was an orphan at this and such and such and this. And then he all of a sudden met Custom Model and Custom Model turned him to this. And they used to call him a beast.
Mm-hmm. Like a cage animal.
Like an animal.
Yeah.
So all of this propaganda is done by design.
Yeah. Why you think they tell you shut up and dribble? Shut up and dribble.
You see, the issue that they had with Ali is he wasn't the greatest as far he was an excellent boxer. But what it was we're going to take part of your career away.
Yeah.
Because who was this black man standing up saying that you're not going to go and kill Vietnam, the Viet Cong and this and that and another, and you standing up for a group of people and you being a voice for this group of people that we're trying to get rid of anyway. Yeah. And that was what made him great, his social stance.
Yeah, because they ain't seen nothing like this since, you remember who, don't you?
Yeah.
The Galveston Giant.
Right.
In case y'all forget who the Galveston Giant is, it's Jack
Johnson.
Yeah. See, remember, it was 22 years later before they ever let it be another black heavyweight.
Right.
See, Jack Johnson, I ain't saying he stood up for social, what's the name?
No,
but,
he didn't.
But Jack Johnson was dating their women.
Yeah.
Telling him he was gonna whoop on them. I mean, this one, the clan, see what people fail to realize, remember, when Jack Johnson won the World Heavyweight Championship, do you know America went on a killing spree?
A killing spree.
They was hanging blacks. That's how mad they was, even though Jack Johnson won. But it really hurted. It hurted us as a race of people because they went ham.
Right.
Go back and watch the documentary. It's called The Galveston Giant on YouTube.
So anytime anybody like Tommy Johnson and Carlos, 1968 Olympics when they raised their hand in first and third place.
Right.
And then the Australian guy who took his shoes off, who when he died in 2010, I think. Those two brothers went to his funeral. But the whole from 1968 to the death, he was ostracized by Australian government for participating in what he felt was right as an athlete.
Right.
So now you don't have social justice athletes anymore. That era is gone after, as I said, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is the last one.
Yeah, because look, they showed you. Listen, people wouldn't understand and go back to Craig Hodges. That was a disgrace how the Chicago did him.
Well, but he was, who pulled the plug on that? Because he could have very easily said, we're going to keep him. I don't care what happens.
Yeah. Because he talked to President Bush, but it hurt you know what I'm saying? But when like I say, you know, and this where racism do come into play, and people, you know, when they say they can't see it, I'm gonna give you a clear picture of it. You can have, and I give you an example. When Max Kellerman was on Sports Center, Max Kellerman could speak out,
Right.
but Stephen A, he had to take the alternative if he wanted to keep a job. See, he couldn't take no fight on social justice.
Right.
He had to go along with get along with it. Look how they ostracized Colin Kaepernick.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? It become let's go with the first dude, was it Kurt Flood, who they created free agency off of.
Right.
He didn't benefit from it.
No, but there's people after him.
Yeah, he got ostracized. See, when you go to knowing your rights, that's like with the NBA players. When that George Floyd stuff went on, do you know they could have shut down the NBA?
They should have, but
They shouldn't have played no more.
You can't take away somebody else's money or else.
Yeah, but that was the thing. But that's to let you know the players don't know the leverage that they have.
Right.
They could have shut that thing down. See, one thing that they don't want, the bottom line is the dollar.
At the end of the day, it's about money.
Facts.
It's who you're making your money off of.
Right. But then you let LeBron James want to speak out something what China had going on in their country. Dude, we got too much going on in here for you to go speak out.
It's always about somebody out there. I heard two, and it's on social media, two Oriental gentlemen were saying that they don't understand how Oriental people don't care for African people, when if it wasn't for the civil rights, the 22 million Oriental people here and they have businesses wouldn't exist, wouldn't be here, couldn't be here. It was very interesting, their dialogue. If it wasn't for black people suffering and dying in the civil rights movement, no group afterwards, Latinos, any Oriental group, gay people, I don't know all the letters, so I'm not even trying. I'm sorry, let me put it this way. People with alternative lifestyles. So I don't want y'all to be offended. I really don't care, but it is. And I'm not trying to be politically incorrect. I'm just stating facts. None of them would have the rights that they had if people didn't suffer and die during the civil rights movement. When they passed the Civil Rights Bill in 1965, that effectively ended the movement. So it was from 1940s, because they passed the bill. The thing is, they won't enact anything on it on behalf of black people or African people in this country. But they'll do it for somebody else. Jewish hate bill, Asian hate bill, all these other hate bills, but won't pass a black hate bill. Because it's been normal.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been normalized.
Right.
That's why you can see us like this. Watching somebody getting brutally beat down by the police. I mean, this is what we've been came to now. But like I've been saying, who policed the police?
Well, when that started, that's when it became an issue. And it wasn't for the fact that the Panthers were shooting at people. It wasn't that they were just armed to make sure that if you're going to do an arrest, do it this way.
Yeah.
Nobody should be arrested and then have to worry about dying.
Yeah, but just look at the jail system. Like, they act like that. They say it's supposed to be rehabilitation, right?
There's nothing rehabilitative about being in prison.
Right, and we have to
doing it yourself.
Facts. That is damn near like gladiator school, and they don't want to be honest with it. See, they don't want to.
Because they're making money off of
facts. See, they don't want to say that with all the harsh realities that go along with what's going on up in there.
No, the only I had the wonderful honor in December of going to Coldwater, Michigan, being invited to Coldwater, Michigan, to do a Kwanzaa program, and just a presentation, 2 hours. And it hurt to look at 200 men that look like me, locked up for choices they make because they're living in situations that are out of order, by design, on purpose, and they make choices, and now they're suffering exorbitant consequences. Some of them are teens that may never get out. or due to circumstances to make money off their back. It's like, or the brother that just got out after serving 52 years, he's 72. His
Crazy.
life's over with. He can't work. He's not gonna get a whole lot of money for the time he got left for his family.
Mm-hmm.
Can't have children unless he was having conjugal visits. So what do? He's stuck. And it's unfortunate, but this is the system. So how do we come? Okay, now we talked about all this stuff. How do we combat it? Number one, we have to become thinkers again. Number two, we have to police our community again. Don't tell me not to talk to your that's my baby. Don't talk to my baby. No, stop. Because your child is my child. If I'm going to eventually see your child in my school, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to be harder on your kid because you taught me over there when he was doing something wrong, I couldn't check him. Now he in my room, and every time he do something wrong, I'm going to check him. I'm going to check him hard because he in my space. But if we work together, hey man, didn't he tell you not to do that? Whatever it was you did, don't do it. I don't want to catch you doing it again. The next time I catch you doing it or somebody say you did something out of order, I'm people, oh, you got to respect my child. Okay. You got to give me something to respect too. Are they coming in ready to learn? I hope so. They come in ready to learn. That makes it easy. Are you making sure that when the kids come to school that they're prepared to go to school? Are we having the conversations at home? Excuse me, Ma. Are we having the conversations at home that make sure that, hey, I'm not aligned. The teacher's not the teacher. I'm the teacher. And then when they go to school, it's show. Is there time that are we taking time at home to make sure that we're working together so that they know?
I do agree with this.
So then when they get, okay, I missed what I missed. Absolutely. We should be teaching our children. Right. So now that even school is out, yeah, baby, conflict resolution don't take place in school. We don't have time. Because we're required as teachers to teach a certain thing in a certain period of time, check it off and keep it moving. I'm not saying that we don't take time to do that. I'm almost contradicting myself because you have to teach young people how to treat each other so that you can get through the course of your day. You also have to teach them how you need your classroom to operate so we can get through the course of the day. So I'm in agreement with that as well. That has to be done, but it has to be done in conjunction with what goes on in school. What I'm saying is, don't just say, my child has got, he like to jump around and bounce off the walls. He does it at home, and then he do the same thing in school. Well, guess where he gonna be at?
Home.
He be at home with you. Well, but by right, he got to be at school with you. No. By right, if he come to school with me, I got some rope. I'm gonna tie his little ass down in the chair, and he gonna sit still. I'm just joking.
For sure. No, but you're right. It start with accountability, but I think,
and it's all of us.
Yeah,
it's all of us.
Facts. Because man, we done got desensitized.
Yeah. Once again, then we just talk about the music that we're listening to, right? We let our kids listen to this music. They sing it, produce it. They do it all at home, making these little videos and all this other stuff. Meanwhile, at school, they continue to carry that same old stuff. What other conversations are they hearing at school? I mean, at home. What other conversation are not only just the adults to them, but other adults, so that they're getting this. Excuse me.
Need some water?
Yeah, I got a bit of sinus infection. I was working on the yard the other day.
Gotcha.
And man, 1821 came back, and I thought I was on a plantation. It was so hot.
Yeah, it was out of
Man, I'm out there working in the yard, and I tried to go in the house to get some lemonade, and master told me to get on back out there and finish working. So, but I'm gonna be okay.
Sure.
So at what point in time do they hear these conversations? At what point in time are they not listening to the speeches at home? I don't care whether they want to. No, come on in here and watch TV. Meanwhile, you listen to this. I don't care if you listen to that, but you got to hear this too.
Right.
But if you constantly hearing shoot, do drugs, smoke, smack it, hit it from this way and this, that, and other, and chia B and H, seeing this, well, with these young minds that don't really develop until like 26, 27 years old, don't mature, then guess what they listening to?
Yeah. Can barely read, but can quote, can rap.
Man, and then we compare. Now you got to teach them how to rap. Well, I'm not teaching them that. Damn it, sit down and teach them how to read the letters.
Yeah,
it's not my job.
But this show you that they got it. How can they remember sign? It's called. You keep hearing the same thing. So if you giving them that in school, they will pick it up.
So I got to sit around there and rap up. No, I'm not doing that.
No, I'm talking about reading. They showing you they can pick up on it.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, they showing you they got it, but it's tell you how. I don't think the ones who running this thing. I'm talking about. I ain't talking about the little people here, us. No, I'm talking about the big players, the 1%.
That's making the decisions.
Yeah, you're making these decisions, man. Because how do you dumb down the whole nation?
It's easy. It's real easy. You put them in front of computers. You take away books. You take certain books they can't read no more. We have to ban them because it's offensive to somebody.
Yeah, because right now, like I say, a lot of the so-called Bible thumpers, when they said the battle will be and it'll be over principalities.
Yeah.
Look what I'm not saying it verbatim, but look where we're going. It was a time you wouldn't show filth. You know what I'm saying? Right. On regular TV. You know, you had to get the pay channels.
Man, right.
You know what I'm saying?
No cussing, no. Now the only thing they ain't doing is showing people nude.
Right. You can say bitch on there.
Right.
You can say the F word on there. Like even when you listen to comedy, remember a lot of times you had to have.
Yes, sir.
You wouldn't get, like, you had the comedy channel. You know what I'm saying? They would let certain stuff, certain segments, certain cussing coming on. It's like everything they showing, even with this Basketball Wives. You know what I'm saying? They showing you heard about in NFL players of basketball, they had the different women. Now we getting to see it.
So now what do you do? And who are you pushing that to? Who are you pushing that to?
To the babies in your community?
Yeah. You're not pushing that to
the citizens, my bad.
You're not pushing that to everybody. Because even at the housewives in New Jersey, most of them, quote unquote, supposed to be mob tied.
Right.
Or at least that's what it seems like, right?
Right.
But this Basketball Wives, you actually have people that were married to basketball players or are married to basketball players.
Right.
Are playing these roles. For what?
Right.
Because you can't sit down there and say that whoever this person that you married didn't give you a life that you didn't have before.
Right.
So show that part. Hey man, I come from this. I met such and such. I was able to do these things in order to show him I could be a benefit in his life. And now we're here.
Right.
And I ain't gonna disparage what's going on. I ain't gonna mess up what's going on. For what?
Right.
And if it didn't work, at least you got a foot up anyway.
Mm-hmm. But what is they showing the young males, the young females? Or if you don't like this person, go get with his friend. If you don't go do this, you get this money. Because basically what we doing is we highlighting tricking.
Listen, where did that spirit come from? From 1808 to 1865 and longer, well, we could no longer, during that period, and we weren't importing African people in there because now African people knew that they could fight and beat after we beat the French. Mm-hmm. Now all of a sudden we got to turn these people into what? So it's a social experiment. Mm-hmm. And this is a social experiment that's continuing.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
And we're still ignorant of it. We still partake in it. Our women, young women, especially, they want to tell Miss Felicia Rashad we should be able to do what we want to. But then when you get treated a certain way, now you want to be mad. When everybody run through you, how you gonna be upset? And then when you run into one person that says, "I see something in you deeper than that, bigger than that," then all of a sudden you want to sit down and say, "No, he's soft, he a simp, he this, he that, he the other." Huh? Where did we get that foolishness from?
I think some of that Willie Lynch syndrome.
Absolutely, it's definitely that. It's definitely that. But once again, folks don't want to read that on all accounts, on all groups of people, because then you can see who benefits from that system and who gets destroyed by that part of the system.
Right. Like I said, they just put so much out here and they threw it on the people, and that's how you see it. Because to me, what happened to the women that, what happens in the house that we don't air our dirty laundry? You be seeing them basketball wives, even the mob wives, they would be fighting each other. Is that the type of stuff you wanted to show?
But the mob wives don't get penalized for it like the basketball
Nah,
wives do.
they do. I'll give you that. I'll give you that. But I'm saying still projecting out there. This is what you projecting to the girl. See, to me, they be showing a false.
It's a false narrative. It's propaganda. Absolutely.
Because for the basketball wives, a lot of them wasn't married.
Right. So then for you, it's just side pieces and quarters, nickels, pennies, and dimes.
Yeah, facts. And to me, and it's like when you see this, but just think about General Hospital when they had them shows on back in the day. One Life to Live. I remember that because my aunties and my aunt, and my mother used to watch them. And I remember when I would get kicked out of school, I had to sit there
and watch that.
That was torture.
Yeah,
that was torture.
But even in that foolishness, it was what they call daytime drama TV or whatever.
Right.
And it wasn't to the level that this stuff is.
No. Like, no, this is right down butchery.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, if these people ever wanted to admit it and say who they following, all I can tell you is like, this ain't God's work. I can just tell you
nothing about none of this stuff God's work. It's all destructive.
Yeah. But that's why I'll be saying, do the people really understand history when they can see what's going on?
No, they don't, because people don't want. Here's the narrative about that is this: you don't want somebody to get angry about something that we did to you, so you should ignore it. But you're not telling Jewish people that.
Nah, you ain't.
You better not tell them that. The only group of people that we get told that never to forget what happened to you and move forward and get over it.
Right.
Is African people in America who's been the worst atrocity that happened to them in the world. Even, on the continent. And Native Americans who you could put on the rock that they can't do nothing with, and they still have high alcohol rate, high suicide rate. And that we talked about that. They may not live past 50 something.
Wow.
Because you took everything from them, forced them to turn into live this way, and then when they want to go back to their native stuff, you complain. You complain about that. You won't even let them go and have their power unless you want to be there. I gotta be there. Oh, they're gonna have power. I want to go. This ain't for you.
Yeah.
You destroyed it. You tried to destroy everything about their culture.
Yeah, you got a point.
And yet you still want to continue to destroy it. Meanwhile, most of us do. They're trying to be separate, but everybody else want to run in and fit in. But fit into what? How in the hell do you go from building pyramids to being a B or a H?
It's a thing called the Atlantic slave trade.
Okay. And then they tell you after that, where it clearly shows in stone who you are and what you did, but that wasn't you.
But you know what? That kind of goes back to the Bible when it was who was the father where the brother stole the one brother birthright? Damn, what was his name? This was later. This was after them. Oh my goodness! Because remember the mother tricked her. She had remember the oldest. Shoot, The youngest brother took the oldest brother blessing. Remember, the father said, already gave it away. But he said, I'll
You
have
know what
you.
you're talking about.
I
Was it
can't think.
Abraham?
Is anybody in here? Can my church people? I know you ain't left to go get lied to today. Can y'all tell me what
Shoot.
story I'm talking about?
Hold that thought. And real folks, please stop following these men or these women. Stop following them. And then if they mess up, they want to come and plead their grace to you. No, because if you're a servant of the people, you're not Jacob.
Jacob, yeah.
Okay. If you're a servant of the
Esau.
people, both up, go on, girl. You bad. If you're a
Jacob and
servant of the
Esau.
people, you don't make mistakes. You don't. You're very clear. I consider myself, Brother Mika, hey man, if that means I don't go to the bar, or if I do go to the bar, I'm gonna tell you how I do it. I go over to where get my cigar. I go have me. I might as well just don't have nothing but popping water in it for what I put in it.
Right.
And I'm straight. I'm telling you what I do. I don't go, and you ain't go. If I a fifth will last me 6 years because I don't. That ain't. I just have it to have it.
No, man, I collect them. I got bottles like from, I still got this rum from when Nicole was in Jamaica.
See,
I done had it for about 3 years.
Right.
I collect bottles when we be going out of town.
Right.
I get them and I just bring them home.
Bring 'em back home.
I still got, man. I got some liquor that I done had for about 5-6
See?
years. I ain't even cracked a bottle open.
Right.
I just like it for display.
Right. And that's it. Or if I do go out socially, nobody can say, man, we saw Brother Elliott drunk. No, you didn't.
Right.
You might see me being playful, but you ain't see me drunk because I don't do that. Because for what? How am I not gonna be in full faculties?
Right.
And we in our conditions we in.
You got to be out here. You got to be on your head. Got to be on the swivel.
It ain't even moderately, Trevor. It's like I said, you might as well just have ice and pop.
Man, Trevor bought me a bottle. I don't know how long ago that was. A whiskey, the Black Label. Guess where it's still at?
It's the same place.
Yeah, it's
so when we get if people get out here and they go, excuse me, I had a woman laugh at me because of how shallow my drink. Yeah. But then I picked up a book and she didn't want to come and share that part, but she wanted to tell a joke about the fact that my drink is the way that it is. And that's cool. No problem.
Mm-hmm.
So when I saw her the next time, it was a new book. And she brought the drink over.
Mm-hmm.
But it was not reading. You reading something different? Yeah, come on, sit down and share with me.
Hmm.
And it's okay. It is what it is. Because you're not interested in the fight. You're interested in making sure the results come in your favor, but you're not interested in putting the work in for the fight.
Right.
But that's me. So I'm not going to put myself. I would be the most boring millionaire in the world because he don't do nothing. Or he don't go to no parties. He don't go to this. He go on a ski trip every now and then. As we're following him around, what is he doing? He's just skiing and talking to people.
Not facts.
And reading books.
Because you more wiser. Because when I be looking at some of these athletes, you gotta understand why you think they be loving to give these young boys that money at night. And I'm really tripping. Don't get me wrong. I'm happy they getting their money, this NIL money. But you give a 17-year-old, 18-year-old, 19-year-old $10 million, what you think he gonna do? He gonna chase tail for one.
That's he gonna want because he know that money attracted too. So
right, facts.
But now that's where are you as the women and the mothers teaching your children that you have to be better than it. But what you're trying to do is, you should have moved out before somebody else do, so you might get a shot at that money.
Right.
Before, come on. So then we selling our children out to be prostitutes.
Just go, Brother Elliott, I swear I remember this. I remember this summer, it was about 97. If anybody can remember that, it was Sports Illustrated. It had a basketball player and the web was a baby at the bottom of it. And
I remember that.
I still ain't forgot that issue of that Sports Illustrated. It was showing how all them NBA players, when Sean Kemp had to leave the Seattle Supersonics and went to Cleveland, he was paying so much money in child support.
Yep.
See, like people don't be understanding this aspect. That's like even you look at the one dude from the Minnesota Timberwolves, they star. He just didn't want to be. I'm assuming this might be allegedly, but he ended up paying all the child support up for 18 years.
Oh, that's
gave her the one lump sum.
Yeah.
But
Anthony Edwards.
Yeah, Anthony. But look at the craziness. Like, dude, if you know you having unprotected sex, what you think gonna happen? See, they don't care like if they catch AIDS or anything. It's just like, and then this why I gotta get on them. You knew the type of woman you was messing with. If you knew, like, listen, let's don't fall for this. Like a stork bring the baby. This is where the child get caught up in his decision. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I be thinking a lot of our athletes. This is where the immaturity come in. That you know what I'm saying? And them women, they're not. I'm not just gonna knock the women. I'm gonna knock the men too. Because you should have put what they say, put a hat on that soldier.
Yeah, and if you don't, then you know the consequences. Yeah. You're gonna get sick. You're gonna have a baby.
Yeah, so you know what I'm saying. Just because you got to go take care of that child, man. You got the money. Go. That's your fault. You shouldn't have been doing that. They know 9 times out of 10 these women wouldn't be looking at them if it wasn't for no money.
But hey,
let's be honest.
Right. So therefore, then at what level of morality then have we lost if that's the case? If that's called chasing a bag, or like I got flew out. I flew out, or however they say.
Yeah, flew out. You said
flew out. Okay. I got flew out. Well, if you got flew out, understand this. What's expected as soon as you land?
You know what it is.
If I got the money and I'm flying somebody out, you already know. Unless I change the parameters.
Right.
I can choose to change the parameters. That's my choice. But if I fly somebody out and you agree to it, that's a contract. You going to deliver or figure out how to get back.
But now it falls up under the Man Act. Do that, and I'm gonna give you another. I'm gonna give you another thing. You see how what they use in them are racist laws that they bringing back up.
That Man Act came in and on because of Jack Johnson.
Facts.
Yep. And then they got Chuck Berry with it. They didn't get Jerry Lee Lewis with it, but they got Chuck Berry with it though.
Right, and I know you watched the Django, didn't you?
I watched Django. Yes.
Okay. Did you notice when they had the buck fighting? Remember they had the Negroes fighting?
Yeah.
What did they give them after they won?
Alcohol.
And a what? A woman.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Right. That's what I'm saying. Have you noticed why is these women around all these bucks? Yeah, well, to me, it's like it's plantation what we going back to.
This is nothing. That's the reason why they call a plant.
Right. This is because they know what they're doing. Why you think now you seen a lot of these athletes, kids starting to, what is they doing? They mating.
Right.
They just like General Motors. Like when you got to get when you got to get you some people, you got to bring them on in. The NBA is no different. Sports is no different. NFL, basketball, they going to keep breeding. Because they looking at the bucks that they had. This is really some stuff that came back from slavery. I don't think people really understand it. No. What's going on? It's like the Matrix. They still kind of, they take the blue pill.
Right. Yeah, well, I don't know whether maybe they took the blue and the red pill at the same time and they woke up yet.
Yeah, because if you can't see what's going on, if you notice, if you notice, go back, even doing you watch these old movies. Ain't nothing changed but the new people that's coming in.
Right. That's all. Nothing's gonna change. For what?
Go look at Jack Johnson. Didn't he have women following him?
Yep, all of them, and they sent women to him.
Right. Boxing. Look. Did Mike Tyson?
Yep.
Did Evander Holyfield?
You're not coming to my room at 2:00 in the morning. Not gonna talk about what I'm gonna talk. But nope. But either you go if you come in, understand what you're here for.
Right.
I'm clear what you're here for. 3 o'clock in the morning.
Right. This how they can sick of women on. They've been doing this. This ain't nothing new. It's just that they know most men are undisciplined.
Right. Put that up from Taz.
Gotcha.
Go ahead on.
Yeah, you know most is not.
Why are they undisciplined? If you remove that man, if the man that she had the child by is undisciplined, and if we remove him. Because this is no different than bucking.
That's the point I was making.
Yeah.
This is why we having this. A lot of them don't see this is generational curses that's in the mind state.
Well, but what you tell people is that if I don't study anything,
Mm-hmm.
right? If I don't study anything, then guess what? I don't have to worry about it. If I get told I can ignore that history,
Yeah.
and it's okay for me to ignore that history, then I don't have to study anything, and then I'll have to look in the mirror that says I can't do certain things.
Yeah.
And see, fortunately or unfortunately, I was forced to do that.
Facts.
So therefore, there are a lot of people that may call me dad, and I'll take that. That's complimentary because they see me in that way and in that manner. But at the same time, the children I have is children I have.
Nah, but that's real. But see, most people don't understand where that come from. You got Ray and Pookie don't understand. He made a baby. He done dipped out. He don't know. He thinking it's just him. He don't understand. Like this, what was happening. Like you see with women, I can give up my baby. They don't understand. Like on certain aspects, what this come from. Like I don't think that I don't think a lot of people understand what slavery would it did. Maybe some bloodlines, genes it didn't hit. But I'm just even like let's just go with this because I see what T saying. They don't have no discipline. How many people that couldn't get the girl that they wanted, but then when they got their money, who did they go run to? Man. Not the one who stayed loyal to him, who was stumped down with him. What the first thing they go do? Money changed. They go Steve Harvey, a prime example.
Right.
He left the woman that was with him when he was sleeping in his car.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But because all honesty, that's what he really wanted. See, most men ain't gonna tell the truth. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes, but you can see it. When they get their money, who they go run to? Who they couldn't have.
Right. Well,
to me, that's foolish.
But look at where that was on the plantation too.
Facts.
Right? Facts. So if you put this particular person up here and say you can't have her, you gonna run into later on. Psychologically, you gonna run into something that you ain't supposed to have.
Yeah, and that's just like I'm saying, like the Buck. He we having him. He impregnate all the women. They was just using him to bring. You know what I'm saying, to get them more soldiers for the field.
That's all. That's it.
You know what I'm saying? Like people not really like if you really gotta go. That's why I think they didn't want no thinkers. You can dribble the ball. You can do. They don't want no doctors. They don't want no scholars. They don't.
Not.
You know what I'm saying?
Then they compete with the comedian Godfrey say. You remove the ability for people to desire to be at this level because if you level the playing field, you'll never win.
Facts.
How do we created the system of medicine?
Right.
We created the system of building things first. Before they ever come to England, before they ever come, we taught them how to build stuff. We taught bathing and how to make soap and how to use herbs out in the wild in order to heal yourself. We taught all of that.
Facts.
So you have to destroy that memory.
Yeah, you do.
You have to destroy that memory. So you have to destroy and say, you know what, I laid up with this girl. I'm just going to pay child support because I don't want the child.
Right. Who was in his ear? Where's his granny at? Where's his aunties at? Where's his uncles at?
That's the thing. When you make money, when they say that you just work this or you're the next face of the NBA, whatever, however they do it, however they say it, then you put him above listening to what his grandma said. Fine. Even look at Shannon Sharp. You 55, you making this money, but you're not listening to what your grandmama told you. So, you have your decadent moments. Without understanding that, they trying to find a way they could to catch you up.
That's what I'm saying. I'm with you with that. Now this is where you really looking at it. But if you can go, you really can go in any country and look at the dynamics of the lighter versus the darker. Yeah. The lighter gonna be in control.
Absolutely.
That's just
because they put them closer to the European ideology and European race. Absolutely. And I'm just looking at what Trevor
Yeah,
said. He is
yeah,
absolutely correct.
yeah.
But how did they even get to be
To pick.
not a number one? They got to be Europeanized or Europeanized
Right.
only because the Gauls and the Malamutes in the early 900s and early 1000s took like over 100-year period, marched their women and children over there to give them to their people because they needed money. That's in History of the World. That's the book that the guy I wrote in the 1950 that I brought in the other day that I got to be probably had to go rebound because it's that old.
Nah, but it's just a fact what you see be going in. Most of them who come over here, that's what they gonna pick their nationality. Ain't nobody coming over here to pick black. I can tell you that.
No, but they pick black because they can get stuff from us, right? They do the cultural thing. You see how they how they do everything. As long as they get that from us, they straight. They get something from us. But you don't want to stand with us unless you can get something from it.
But see, that's the problem I have when it comes down to this, because I'm looking at everybody in the black community is accepted, but not every community the blacks are accepted.
No, heck no. No.
That's where I fall off with, like, you know what I'm saying? I have compassion, I have sympathy on what's going on, but then I have to come back to us, and I'm looking at, like you said, do y'all understand the fights, the people that we lost?
People that died and all the other stuff.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And y'all get the benefit from it. That's like I do all the work.
Yeah.
And I don't get the benefit
I don't get
of
no benefit from it. Every group get a benefit from my dying but me.
Yeah, because that's even with that minority. People like, that's what I'm saying. I know a lot of people was mad about the DEI. But if the DEI, when, you know, I hear people coming on here, it's did this. We get so confused as a black race of people. We worrying about other people going, and they getting ahead of us. They getting ahead of us. It's just a fact. Minorities, that little game that they play where they could put, and I got a number of respect for white women. But for y'all to be sitting up there as them, how are you a minority when you're in the majority? I see that was a game.
It's all a game.
Yeah,
at the end of the day, people are not, I mean to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
At the end of the day, people are not paying attention to the game that's played, and so they keep on putting up smoke screens. If I got a loaf of bread and you got meat, we have a meal. If Taz from the D got corn and little mama got carrots, and you got a loaf of bread and I got a chicken, we get together, we get a meal. If Trevor got a bottle of wine, little mama got corn, Taz got, and Sister Kill got, you got, I got, and we get together, now we can start growing stuff, and now that's part of the problem. Because as long as once we start to become communal, then all of this is over with. I'm not interested in losing my cultural view. I'm not going to do that. I'm not interested in losing my cultural view. And I don't want anybody else to lose their cultural view. No, but that doesn't mean if my stomach growling, your stomach growling, his stomach, I don't care if you Arab, Muslim, jumping jack, this, that, the other, whatever the hell you is, we are hungry. We are poor, but we have something that we can share amongst each other. Yeah. You can still go to the mosque and you go to church and you can go to whatever. You don't have to go whatever. I don't care. But at the end of the day, we're hungry. And now we're eating because we see that we have this thing that we have in common, that's hunger.
But see, we got to know how to do that amongst us. Every other race know how to do their own, protect their own, build their own communities up. We see them come here and they go build their communities up. We've been here the longest and can't build our communities up.
That's because it's our choice. Not only has the system has done it, but we've also chosen to follow the system that's not benefiting us.
Yeah, because that's crazy. I'm telling you, how can you come here 20 years ago? I'm just saying, even look at the Jewish people. Listen, a lot of people might don't like what was his name, Donald Sterling said, but he said it was truth in what he was saying. Magic don't got this money. What have he set up for his people? See, we get amazed. Oh, he got a Magic Johnson theater.
Yeah, but he's doing it for his family, regardless of
Yeah,
whatever.
but
He's not doing it, and there are probably people that he's put in positions of management that he's helped out or whatever that we don't hear about because they don't want to hear about that. Why? Because that would inspire other people to do the same thing, right? It's like what we talked about the other day, where the man, the tech brother that went to, it was Howard, right? That he wiped out all of the student debt, but of those graduates few years ago, right? How if so therefore, when these young people start their careers, they don't owe nobody nothing.
That's a fact.
Okay. Now, some people can be doing it quietly. He just did it openly. Who knows what? But he's already a billionaire, so what he gonna lose?
No, but this is what I'm saying. This is what I know he's not doing openly. And I'll say with Magic, you got Oprah Winfrey, you got all of them together. Don't you know they could have opened up these General Motors plants?
But
I'm just saying this is industry that we building. You can do all this. That's cool. You want to be a part of a group that got the bought the Dodgers. That's not helping the black community. No. That's cool. Okay, the Magic. I get what you're saying, but I'm saying where is you building some industry at? That's the point that I'm making. We can go see everybody else can set some things up. But see, we get up on here and brag about, oh yeah, Magic did this, Magic did this. But when it came, okay, you might have helped to it. You might have helped your crew. Because that's what it usually comes down. You might have helped your crew. It should, like you said, the tech guy. It shouldn't have never been the tech guy. Blacks, it shouldn't have just been dead at Howard. That should have been held to other black colleges. Why the black colleges, we over here begging for this? And remember, the Divine Nine rate 80 million. Right. Why they can't get themselves out of debt? Why we can't be self-sustained? But
okay, so let me give another point.
Okay.
In Burkina Faso, they're building their own airplanes. They're building their own cars. They have an electric car over in Burkina Faso. That's way better than a Tesla. But guess what? They don't have over there. They don't have the distraction of social media. They don't have the distraction of all this other stuff. You see little kids over there in different parts where they show on social media, oh, I built this little castle out of water bottles or whatever. There's a woman in Nigeria who's a billionaire who's taking tires, turning them into roofing tiles. Unfortunately, she's single. If I meet her, she ain't gonna be single. No, I'm just playing, but not really.
Yeah, but I feel you on there.
But they're doing something, and it's benefiting the country, because the issue is, even though they were colonized, they're doing something for their people. The difference is the level of colonization that takes place here is to remove you from your people, and you're no longer connected.
Okay, I'm following you.
Okay, so I don't have to come back and do nothing for East Lansing. I can do something for East Lansing High School, but I ain't got to do nothing for it. I ain't got to come back and do nothing for Flint. When I came, I played ball here, and Flint was the reason where I got my start at. Now, they say Kyle Kuzma did something for the Y. That's great. Donated some money for the new Y. That's beautiful.
Who owned the Y?
Right.
Because I mean, I can go back.
We don't.
I can go back. I can go back when Robert donated money to Atwood Stadium.
Yes,
and who did they sell it to?
Yep, catering.
Right. For how much?
Probably 2 cents.
That's what I'm saying. See, right. The game. This is the game that the people that's running them, that control them. You help. Don't you know he didn't have to get no money to the YMCA? They had their own money.
Right, because it's a young men's or young women's Christian association.
Yeah. See what I'm saying? When you donate money, we couldn't build our own thing we couldn't build our own stuff up.
So then over at New Jerusalem, they got a rec center. So how come it's not open to everybody?
That tell you everything you need to know.
Right.
That's the division.
Right.
That's that Willie Lynch syndrome.
Right. Absolutely.
And guess who keep pushing it? The ones who, when it's been implemented, ain't stopping it.
Right.
This is what I'm saying. Like, they not billing. That's cool. Like, don't you know Magic Johnson? Jordan don't even need to be doing business with Phil Knight.
Right.
White Jordan ain't worth damn near $30 billion, but Phil Knight is.
Right.
Who was out there dribbling that basketball?
Right. Who's the one who made the shoe, the most popular shoe in the world?
That's just like with Puffy with Diageo. They made 80-some billion, and they owe Puffy $2 billion.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
This is where the what's the name coming in, and it's like you see the people who controlling it.
So now, now let's throw a bright light on it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Shaq has Reebok, I think.
Yeah, he got a contract where he don't own it. He got a
Yeah, but
contract
he
with
put
it.
his son in charge of something.
Yeah, well,
The one that couldn't
yeah,
that played ball, but he had a heart condition. He
Sharif.
couldn't play. Yeah. So now he's like, yeah, okay, since you can't play ball no more, here's this. Run it.
Yeah, but that's one out of damn there. You looking at you got
Yeah,
43. But I'm just saying if you have more, but Shaq is in, Shaq is one of the ones that they like.
Right. Well,
Because he's still he's silly in the head too, all at the police. Like Shaq is what you call, let's just be honest with it. A lot of these damn athletes we got ain't nothing but the reincarnation of Mandingo. Brother, you don't see, listen, man, we got to be honest what it is. This thing, why you think when it comes to social justice, they don't want to mess with it because they know they mess with they will shut up and dribble. You know what I'm saying? How you go from you come from the ghetto, but then as soon as you get the money, you know what I'm saying? Where you go run to? They ain't running around nobody to look like me and you. If you notice, they're only gonna let so many of us move in their neighborhoods.
That's what we come up on Tuesday.
Yeah. Yeah, I got you. I'm just saying, like, these are mandingos that as soon as you buck the system, they will wake you up. That's just like LeBron James. Bronny James caught hell. But don't nobody say nothing about the Berries.
Right.
I'm talking about Rick
right.
Berry. Oh, they wasn't no great players, man. We can go on. I can show you a person right now in the NBA averaging down there 2-3 points. You know who made Steve Kerr them great? Jordan.
Right.
Who wouldn't be great if all of you got to do? I'm going to do all this. And when I give you this, throw this ball to you, you better make that shot. That was the only thing you had to do. And you mean to tell me John Paxson them? Put them on any other teams and see how good they're going to be. They couldn't even carry some of these boys' jock straps. But like I say, we be harder on us. We expect so much out of us. I remember Sean Bradley. They don't name them bums that got that money.
But shouldn't we expect more from us?
Yeah, but we should. But you know what we going to get? It's going to be so many of us, even with some of the stuff I'm saying, it's going to be, oh, he jealous. That's the first thing we're going to have.
Yeah, but see, that's because of our mindset. Though.
Yeah, you know that's going to come on. They jealous because this, and that person. Because you supposed to expect.
I don't care nothing about that. My expectation is that we continue to be better. But if they're not willing to help because of where their mind is, then we have to do it ourselves.
Yeah, I mean listen, even in the spiritual book they read, you're gonna have to separate. It's gonna come a time of separation.
Yeah,
that's in the Bible. It was separating. You can go through all if these so-called leaders, these spiritual leaders.
Oh my God, they need to leave these clowns.
Yeah, if you really believe in the book that they read, you're gonna have to separate. Like they say, God had his people and the devil had his people.
You're making me rub my eyes about that.
Yeah, no, but I feel you on that. But I'm just saying, what everybody finna go do today?
Yeah.
They finna go.
My whole thing is even today. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
Man. I used to get in trouble, or at least talk to. I didn't get in trouble. I don't care because you gave a sermon. I got in a briefcase and a book bag, and I got 4 or 5 books that I'm cross-referencing what you're talking about.
Right.
Excuse me, you all. I'm cross-referencing what you're talking about. Where's it at? I don't see that in here. Let me see if it's over here. Let me pull it. Oh, wait a minute. Let me bring out this 1923 Bible that my grandfather had. My great-grandfather had. Oh, it ain't in there, so I don't know where you got this from. Okay, so then I can't even sit up here and listen to this. Or if I do I see it over here, and then this over here says this, and because it was about studying.
Facts.
We don't study anymore because we want to spend more time having fun and not facing issues. The hard work is to do not only just study, but to face the issues and to figure out how we're what's the best way to deal with them. Sunday morning sitting there is not the best way. Go get your food. If that's your food, go get it. Then after that, what the work is going to really be done. I can't pray and hope my grass get cut.
Facts.
I got to go out there and go do the work. I can't go get what I consider whatever the spiritual food. And then not do the work. If I need a shed built, I can't just sit there in the yard and pray and think that the shed, when I wake up and God gonna build a shed for me. Or what might happen is I might get clunked on the head because I put a hammer up on something that was unstable. And that gave me the idea that I need to get a hammer and a nail or screws and screwdriver or whatever and go out here and get to work building this structure that I was inspired not by God and my ancestors to build, because it's necessary for me to put my tools in so they wouldn't rust and they would be good. I'm not saying not have a belief in a higher power. What I'm saying is you can't act on it by seeking knowledge and information. And stop listening to one person who figure they got all your answers, because they don't. They don't. And then we want, oh, he's a man. He's just a man. It's okay. Man, get out of here. Get out of here. It's an undisciplined idiot that y'all listen to. And you want to say it's okay because he had a downfall. Get up. Bye.
Facts.
Bye. He made a choice.
Right. No, you right on that. I was going to say, a person don't believe let's say you don't want to say God. If you don't believe in a higher being, just walk outside. How you think this planet got here?
Man, people are just.
How you think you see suns, the stars? I mean, if you don't believe it's a supreme being and you get out here, how you think this stuff got like this?
And how do you figure that a person that's supposedly standing in front of you is more supreme than you are? That's what gets me.
I think when they say the supreme, I think when it comes down to wisdom, you know what I'm saying? When they say the supreme, even with meaning with God, the knowledge that he got and understanding of the world, do you know how could you not? How does that person not the supreme being? I'm just saying, when you looking at a person, I give you
a person,
and hell yeah, individual, a supreme
that's
being.
more supreme than I am.
Then you hear me say,
refuse to believe.
Do you hear me say a supreme being?
But I'm just saying. I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about one person ain't no more supreme than I am.
No, that's why I said the supreme being. Like
that's different. Yeah. We all bow down to that.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, but that person, better than me.
Yeah.
Sadly,
no, I'm just saying in different fields, because what would Jordan be looked at in his field?
Right. Yeah.
In his field, Mike Tyson, like Ali, in his field, he was you know what I'm saying? Them people, when you mastered your what's the name. To some people, you were down there look like damn. When people were seeing what Jordan was doing, they thought Jordan was the greatest till Kobe came. You know what I'm saying?
And Kobe wasn't nothing but a copycat.
Yeah,
but he admitted it.
Yeah, but what it is, look how long Jordan was reigning supreme. And since Kobe gone, who's the next one? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You gotta look at it. That's what I'm saying. But see, these people don't. How you think people was looking at? I'll give you a better example. Why you think so many people, when they came to America, they thought this was the land of milk and honey?
Because it was something to take advantage of. It was wide open. It had been explored, and you could exploit people in order to get what you needed. How in that? I can get my milk and honey by having 100 people sit up there, die of thirst, slave, beat the hell out of them, kill them, rape them. I can go get my heaven and my honey with this black woman over here because I ain't touching her, because she's supposed to be superior, but I can go get my milk and honey by coming in and messing with her and all the other stuff, and I don't have to do no work.
Yeah,
and that ideology has not changed. You don't level the playing field for no reason. Henry Ford did not invent the car. It was invented by a man named Patterson in Ohio. He invented the idea of mass production. John Deere did not invent the lawnmower. It was done by a black man.
Yeah, no, when you go do it, you can tell these ain't been nothing but a plagiarism that's been going on. That's been going on. You know what I'm saying? Even when you go look at the guy who started, I was just reading on him yesterday. Tulsa, Oklahoma, how it started out.
Right.
It can be done, but you know what happened? Don't nobody else want to build. We got so used
You
to.
know why? Let me tell you why.
Mm-hmm.
Every time we built something or did something, either we had people on the inside to destroy it or people on the outside destroy it. And all of it was, once again, with Tulsa being bombed the way that it was and they destroyed Tulsa, Oklahoma, is because supposedly a black man whistled at a white woman. She goes back and tells, and they get up in arms. And really, it was about economics because this was a town that was 100% self-sufficient.
Mm-hmm. Had his own airport.
Everything.
2 hospitals.
Schools.
Mm-hmm.
Oscarville, which is where Lake Lanier is now in Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing. Hayti in South Carolina.
Rosewood, Florida.
Rosewood in Florida.
It was over, Brother Roberts again. It was like over 100 something. But
yeah.
My thing, Brownsville, Chicago. Remember the policy?
Yeah, absolutely.
Big Ed. But that don't mean you stop. I think
no, you got to go back and rebuild it. But if you confuse the people to think that basketball wives twerking out of the wrong, not even understanding the real cultural context of where the dance come from, but you hypersexualize it. You over and hypersexualize men and women. You tell them to forget the building. You put these other ideologies in front of them. So that I got my headphones on, I can't see, I don't speak, I don't do this or that or other. I'm tunnel visioning, but what the hell I'm doing? Then you can't, well, we in this condition, we can't fix it because, hey, what's on TikTok? Oh, what's on Facebook? What's on Snapchat? What's your IG? But you really ain't doing shit. Right? I'm building a brand. What are you building for the rest of the community? Well, okay, so you got brothers and sisters that get on there and they work out and they post their workout. That's cool. No problem. Is that all? You mean tell me you can't show people how to build a shed? How to fix a hole in the house? There's some people doing that too. I get that. But what about the rest of the community? How do we fix our educational system? We have to become educated. There should be you 2 or 3 years old knowing letters and sounds and this and that and colors at 2 or 3 years old.
But you know what though? Every other community they still educate. Now they might send their kids to the schools, but they still have when they come back where they teach them their tradition and keep theirs. We the only ones who don't do it. But I understand why it's did like that too. Now don't get it twisted. I get it why it's did like that because ain't nobody had them pressures. Remember, it was a time they didn't want none. Our ancestors couldn't even read. You could get killed for reading.
All right, okay. But then when we were supposedly free after 1865, the 19 million people that were here, between 16 and 13 million people went to schools that we built, freedom schools, this, that, all that other stuff. We would come home and teach the older people who stay home and the younger people that didn't go to school because they were too young. We're the most highly educated race of group of people on the planet. Coming here in this country. Fought, created things, made inventions that they took advantage of, all of this stuff. When we had separate schools, 1954, Brown versus Board of Education, separate but equal, but it wasn't. When we had separate schools, there's a school called Paul Lawrence Dunbar School, which is now closed. That had the highest scores in the nation, and everybody from the janitor to the principal was black. And they demanded excellence, and the families demanded excellence. But if you do drugs and this and that and other and all this other stuff, and you create a system of need, then you can't demand that excellence no more. The excellence is lost. How do we get it back?
You got to fight. That's something
we got to keep fighting. Hey, what was that song that the Isley Brothers came out back in the 70s? Fight the power.
Yeah, you got to keep fighting because they tore that down. Like what Jordan said, if you knock me down, I'm gonna get back up. So if you knock me down 100 times, that means I'm getting up 99.
That's right.
So it's just the fact that we got to go ahead. We can't get so Well, we get because they have terrorized, they have used terrorist techniques on us.
Yes.
Because look at the Black Panther Party, how they did them. A lot of the stuff that they got, we think the school lunch program came
School
from.
breakfast and lunch program come from the Panthers, but you control what the breakfast is. Where there was now, could you imagine having? Just give me an idea too.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine having students who are sitting down having breakfast, a cooked breakfast,
Mm-hmm.
and listening to speeches and listening to music before they go into class.
Mm-hmm.
Before they go to school.
Mm-hmm.
Then after school, they got to come back,
Mm-hmm.
help set up for the next day or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
He'll get help with their homework.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, they listen to speeches, they listen to people talk, and they're learning these skills. What do you do to that? You transform them. But what do you have to do if you oppose that is because you don't want a black messiah to come from out of this community, and you've been having your thumb on this community forever, you have to destroy that idea. But the hell with a messiah, that's the reason why you got so many of these idiots that run churches. They don't know nothing no more than nobody else. I promise you they don't. They ain't called by God no more than nobody else is. I promise you they're not. But at what point in time are we saying this is what we need to do for ourselves? This is what we need to do for us. This is what we need to do. Okay, bring your kids over here. No problem. If I have my classroom again this year, I would do. Hey, but we're not eating breakfast down here. We're not even eating that breakfast. If I could afford it, I feed my kids every day. Now that I'm thinking about it, being inspired for that myself. But I know one thing: when my kids come into my room, because I got a different setup this year, then this year what's going to happen is they're going to listen to this music by these artists. I just have to make sure it's a clean version and not the version I listen to.
For sure.
And this is what you're going to listen to during the whole course of the day. Period. And don't come in here talking. You're going to listen to this. It's indoctrination. We got to do the same thing.
Yeah, you got to be the miseducation, and that's
Right.
that would you got to really re-educate. We really do have to be re-educated because what we thought was what you supposed to do, but you know what I'm saying, and that's what I think people don't understand. I get it, you know what I'm saying, but now as we moving into the technology world, the technology era, let me say technology era, you have to be more skillful and you know what I'm saying on what you're doing, because really a lot of these kids are being raised up by TV.
But guess what? That's done by design and on purpose.
Facts.
Now, if you go to the school that we consider to be these elite business people, they have one course in one of the schools in Chesapeake Bay that you have to learn how to sail a boat. And if you don't sail that boat and make sure that you can turn it and tack it and all this other stuff, whatever the terms are for boat sailing, and you can bring it back safely from out of the harbor in Chesapeake Bay, which is like being in the ocean. If you flip over, you fail. You got to keep doing the course until you pass it. And you lose. If you die, you fail the course. They don't have technology. And these are tech giants in the world. And all of these high whatever people that stole people's monies and ideas, they had libraries. There where you got to go read stuff. We got to go I got to go look this book up and I got to go find a card catalog in order to find that book. Okay. But they don't put these computers in front of them. Once you get in for the marking period of the semester, you put your cell phone up. You can't have your phone. You can learn to communicate and talk to people. Because eventually you're going to be taking over this firm or whatever it is that your parents set up. So if these companies are doing this with their children, why are we not doing the same thing with ours? Ain't no AI. I just saw this comment by Mr. Bird, but ain't no AI building a building. Ain't no AI putting up a shed. Ain't no AI swinging a hammer or drilling a drill. Ain't no AI putting up windows. And I understand that that's where they're pushing it, but at the same time, the pyramids didn't get built with AI. AI is programming, another distraction.
Just make you rely on others. I mean,
Somebody else's stuff
then
that you're not building.
Yeah, you have
because you ain't building no computers.
like even writing stories, papers now.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Usually you have to do it yourself, but that right there was really, like I say, pay attention to some of these movies that's coming out. You'll see.
Man, shoot, Enemy of the State with Gene Hackman and Will Smith. AI Robot with Will Smith.
Yep.
The Terminator with Arnold Schwarzenegger. All of this stuff is pointing. We're not saying it's going to turn into that, but at the same thing is, if people are being reliant on that technology and not themselves, you're the genius that. I get so frustrated with people pulling out their phones to use a calculator instead of being able to do the calculations in their head.
I don't care if you use your fingers to add to get the last.
I don't give a damn. Just get to it. Use your head, because by the time you're thinking about it, the only thing the calculator does is calculates it quicker, only because of your laziness.
Right. So who made the calculator?
You can't. They give credit to the Chinese for creating the abacus. They didn't create that technology first.
Right.
We created a bone called the Shangi bone that's over 40,000 years old. Has calculations on it, markings on it for calculations.
That's because, listen, and I know because I got to bounce. I ain't gonna hold you up, but I'm gonna just say this: if you people think that the pyramids was put together by pouring Cyril, if y'all think they had the Hebrews out there doing, if you don't think it was technology back then, family, you are so surely mistaken. Believe that, because if you could just pour it like that, why they can't make them now?
They can't. You can't figure out how that they put these bricks together so well. These huge boulder bricks together so well that a single strand of hair cannot fit between them, and there's no mortar. And Trevor, at one time Flint had over 400,000 people here at its largest. But thank you for the information anyway. We appreciate you. All right, family, go and enjoy your day.
Yeah.
We got to change how we thinking, family, because we losing the race.
Facts.
We losing the race. I don't care what nobody say, we are. But we love you. You have a good weekend. And we'll talk to you on Tuesday, 5 o'clock.
Facts. We're going to be in Tuesday, family.
All right, fam.
Peace.